juice it gives me as your instructor today, as your presenter. So the title of the presentation today is The Unusual OptiChannel Strategy That Created 4,258 Leads. Now, if I'm in your shoes thinking about this strategy, I might say, okay, that's cool, but I don't care how well this works for the funny looking guy here that I'm seeing in the video. What I want to know is, how does this work for me? And that's really what the second part of this headline here is all about. I want to show you how you can use this strategy for your organization. Like I said, whether you're an agency, a printer, any kind of B2B company, and do so in a way that's going to save you a lot of time, okay? But in doing that, I need you to make me a little promise here, because some of what I'm about to show you can be misused, okay? And the community that we lead here of marketers and salespeople and business leaders like you, we don't subscribe to that. So I need you to know that the power that I'm going to give you could be misused, but I need to know that all of you are going to use this for the right thing, okay? That you're not going to abuse this. So go over to the chat and say, yes, Dave, I promise. I need to see the promises coming in, okay? Because this is powerful stuff, all right? It's new, it's different. I need you to keep an open mind, and I need you to use it in the right direction. I see all the promises coming in. That's cool. So let's make sure you're in the right place, okay? We're in some crazy times right now. I reached out to many of you, like I said, in advance of this class, and I used a word cloud technology to try to parse through the problems that all of you are facing right now, the situation that you're in. And I saw a lot of you say, you know, look, my print business is down. I need to figure out how to market because I've never marketed before. I need new sales. The time is now. There's interesting little word down here, screeching. You know, things are coming to a screeching halt, right? It's kind of hard to make sense of this when you look at so many words. So what I did is I looked at just the top 10. Actually, the 10th word was David, my name, so I excluded that. I think there's only 9 here. But when you do that, the picture becomes more clear. You're here. You're in the right place if you need sales, if you need clients, if you need new business, if you need to market now. Maybe you haven't had to market in the past, okay? Maybe you were relying on word of mouth, but because of how the world has changed, you know that something about how you go to market needs to change, okay? So your biggest problem is one of these things here that you see on the screen. You need clients, you need sales. The time of what used to work in the past just doesn't work anymore, because ultimately what you're all looking for is a way to be able to engage your market, to be able to provide your services, to be able to provide the value that you offer. So this is an actual screenshot here of the kinds of leads, the kind of inbound activity that this framework I'm about to show you actually generates, okay? So if I'm right about kind of what the problems are that you're facing, give me a 1 in the chat, okay? I just want to make sure we're resonating here, that what I just showed you on the screen a second ago are the problems that you kind of feel you're facing, all right? You could be an agency, you could be a printer, you could be a B2B organization, even B2C organizations. I know a lot of you are printers selling direct mail, you know, wide format, postcards. I mean, there's just a whole variety of print services, but for anybody who's trying to engage their market right now, you know that things have changed. So what I want to make sure you realize is that even though I'm going to be showing you a case study and a couple examples of people who are generating thousands of leads with this technique, or 4,258 in our case, right? This isn't magic, okay? Don't think that this is some magical scheme that you can apply. This training is going to show you how to apply it, but you need to apply yourself, okay? You need to be committed to actually making this work, okay? There's no such thing as magic. Now, the key to that underlies everything that I'm about to describe to you here is the following. So if you're taking notes, now is the time to grab your legal pad or whatever it is that you're going to use to take notes here in the training. I also have the PowerPoint that I can send to you afterwards. This is being recorded. So get ready now to start to take some notes, because the thing that you need to keep in mind that underlies everything that we're talking about today is the power of the internet, okay? It has changed everything. Now, I don't think any of you are surprised by that statement, right? But we're living in a time that's very unique, not just because of the virus, certainly that's true, but because of what the internet can do for you, what it can do for me. What 99% of the people who come into our sphere don't realize is that you have an ability right now probably in your pocket, or maybe you're even looking at me on it right now, where if you want to sell, whether you're a print company, agency, services company, financial services, whatever you are, the tool that you have to communicate, the tools you have to communicate are unbelievable right now. Most people just don't know how to use them. You might have heard me say this before. I've used this example in other sessions, but the opportunity that you have right now, look at the screen, is like this beachfront property here that you see. So what I mean by that is, imagine if you could go back in time and buy that piece of real estate. Now, if you forwarded to right now, it might look like something like this, right? Can you imagine what it would be worth? That's what you have the power to do right now. If you invest now in learning things like LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, even email, when you use those correctly, it's like going from this black and white over here to this color picture, okay? Especially now. If things are slow for you, now is the time to invest in yourself and put this stuff into practice, okay? Don't think that you're going to hit a grand slam your first attempt. Don't think that you're going to be some sort of magician and make this happen right off the bat. But I'm going to be here to help you through that process. I want to show you the framework. The key is you got to keep at it, okay? Plant the seeds now, and you will be able to reap the benefits in the future, okay? So my goal in this material, as we prepared all of it, is to really help 3 buckets of people here, okay? So salespeople, marketers, and those of you who own or run your organizations, okay? So if you're in sales, I'm going to show you how you can use this OptiChannel framework to get people to engage you without being salesy or pushy, which is an important thing right now, okay? If you're a marketer, I'm going to show you how to use these techniques to drive inbound interest into your organization in ways that you're probably not doing right now. If you run a business or you're in leadership, I'm going to help show you how, if you embrace this kind of worldview that I'm about to share with you through this training, you can position your company to get ready for this recovery, okay? So if you happen to be a service provider, there's one little twist here too. Think about how you might be able to do this for your customers, what I'm about to show you today, okay? How could you help your customers? Just like I'm giving you this information, some of you may be also able to do that for your customers, okay? So my goal for you, regardless of which bucket you fall into, is to help you create more leads so you can drive sales. In about 90 minutes, I'm going to try to cover all this information. I want you to stay with me till the end. I'm going to give you a little bribe here. I'm actually going to give you a free campaign. I'm going to tell you more about this here in a minute. Stay to the end. This is something that typically, I think I asked my team, we typically charge $2,500 for this service. I'm going to give that to you, okay, as another way to give you value. So I am anticipating about 90 minutes. Make sure you have that here on your calendar if at all possible. And then keep those questions coming because I'm going to answer all of them for you. I see people asking, is this being recorded? Can I get the slides? Can I get the information afterwards? Yes, we're going to give that all to you, okay? So in the next 90 minutes, here's the goal. I want you to understand and to believe that this OptiChannel framework is the way that you can unlock leads so that you can maintain or grow your sales, okay? And I want to show you that this proprietary model, this framework, makes it simple for you to achieve that result, okay? Once you understand how this works, you're going to know the strategies and you can go out there and apply them, okay? So I'm going to show you how it all fits together. I'm going to show you some case studies, including the 4,258 leads, so that you understand how to put this into practice. At the end, as we get into Q&A, if you want to know how to accelerate your implementation of this, I'm going to give some of you a way where we can help you do that and get you there faster. But hold that thought. I'll cover that here in a moment as we round the corner in this material here, okay? So let's start with some definitions. Again, grab your notepad here. What do I mean by OptiChannel? It is kind of a new word, and I want to define that for you, okay? Yes, it's a process. Yes, it's a philosophy. But also we have found that it's become more than that. It's almost a movement born out of a response to the way the world has changed. Again, I'm not talking specifically or only about the virus. I'm talking about how communication has changed, okay? Because of the virus, in a way, these problems that people have right now in reaching their customers has just been more exposed, but it was already there. This has just kind of exposed it more. So the way this problem is solved is through an OptiChannel framework, and it's rallied people around it that are looking to break free of the bondage. The bondage that I'm talking about, the symptoms of this problem are like what you see here on the screen. Waiting for the phone to ring, hoping for the next sale, but deep down inside, you know that model is broken. There's something wrong with that. Give me a yes if this resonates with you. Go over to the chat. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about, that feeling, okay? So when I talk about OptiChannel, what I'm talking about is, not that. I'm talking about sophisticated ways of communicating with your customers and prospects so that they come to you, okay? So instead of, waiting for the phone to ring like you're seeing here on the screen, that people are engaging you in a way that's different, that gets you what you need and gets them what they need, okay? So when I say OptiChannel, I'm not talking about just a funnel. I'm not talking about just an email or a lead page, landing page. This is much more than that, okay? You need more than that in order to be able to move forward in this new age. So something completely new is required here. I'm going to break that apart for you. Real quick, if we haven't met before, I'm Dave Rosendahl, co-founder and president here at MindFire. I get the opportunity to be able to talk to all sorts of different organizations of all sorts of different shapes and sizes about OptiChannel, thousands of print companies, as I've mentioned, agencies, B2B companies, B2C organizations. And our goal whether the organization is big or small, is to help them solve some of the toughest marketing challenges and sales challenges that are out there. And that's especially crucial for all of you, all of us who are living in this day and age. We've worked with thousands of different companies. Many of the logos that you see here on the screen, I'm sure you're familiar with. Big brands, small brands, commercial printers, agencies, B2B organizations, B2C, you name it, okay? I've been able to, from this view now, kind of understand how this framework works for thousands of businesses and help lead our movement to put these strategies into play. And I'm going to share with you that framework, okay? But if I'm honest with you, which I always try to be, it hasn't always been this way, okay? A couple of years ago, we were, like many of you, in a situation that's very similar to what people are feeling right now, okay? If you saw all the logos on the screen a second ago, you might think, gee, they've been so successful, they've got all these great companies as customers, and yes, that's true. But if I rewind to about 2 or 3 years ago, we were in a situation where leads had dried up, where we were hearing from our sales team that there was virtually nothing going on. We were like this guy here in the picture, waiting for the phone to ring. Can you relate to that? Give me an ugh. See where it says UGH if you know that feeling. I know that especially now, many of us feel that. Many of you feel that, okay? So I want to take you back to what happened, how we uncovered this framework, okay? Because suddenly what we found was something that was pretty dramatic, all right? So I know many of you are feeling this right now. In fact, I remember, if you look at the screen here, this is the days before social distancing, but I remember being here at Disneyland, taking our youngest daughter there, second youngest, I guess, I don't know, I have so many now, I've lost track, to Disneyland for her 2-year-old birthday, okay? And while you might look at that and say, wow, you're smiling and looks like a happy family picture there, which is true, we are happy, we are blessed, but folks, if I'm honest with you, inside, it was a horrible feeling. I was freaked out, because our leads had dried up, consequently our sales pipeline was dwindling, and there was really no predictability in what we were doing. I remember feeling in my stomach just this knotted sensation, this kind of horrible feeling, which I know many of you are feeling right now, right? On the outside, you might be smiling, you might be looking like you're having a good time, but on the inside, you're worried sick about your business because of leads, because of sales, because you need to engage customers. Does this make sense to all of you? Give me a 1 in the chat box if this is what you're understanding. So if this is what you're feeling. So what happened for us is that I took this problem and I decided to dive headfirst into trying to solve it, okay? And what happened is that I suddenly remembered a experience that I had somewhere around 2013, okay? I remembered in 2013 that this is when our first daughter was born, that I had to make my way over to Target to get some diapers. And if you've had children before, especially your first, you kind of remember that fog after the first few days where you're like stumbling around, barely alive. And as I did that walking into Target, somebody caught my eye. And I could tell he was homeless. I went over to start to talk to him, even though, I hate to say it, but normally I just keep walking. But something inside of me said, go talk to him. His name turned out to be Dave as well. And through a set of situations that were completely out of his control, he ended up on the streets, okay? And our conversation touched me as I was talking to him. So I asked him for his cell phone number. He actually had a cell phone. And I found out where in the city he hung out. And after I got the diapers, I ran home. I was so moved, I started to write it out because that's how I process things, is by writing. And I published that just on a whim to a blog post. And what started to happen really surprised me. First of all, people started to read it. People started to drop comments. And then people started to reach out to me, which surprised me. But the thing that was most shocking is that money started to come in. People started making donations, whether I would walk into a public place and people would walk up to me with an envelope of cash or through PayPal. Donations started coming in for this guy. I'll never forget it, okay? Because what I was finding is that as I was sharing the story, and this is a key part of this framework, men and women, as I was sharing this story, it had some value to the reader, okay? Something that touched them. And as this started to kind of grow on itself, like through posts like you see here on the screen, another really interesting thing started to happen. People started to reach out to me to ask about MindFire, about our business. Those two things are not even related. But I thought, that's really interesting. How is a story about my homeless friend Dave driving interest to MindFire? And so this is, as I stepped back, this is the framework that I started to realize. Look at the screen here. I found that as I was sharing words and video and audio, about my experiences with Dave, where they in some way provided value to the other person. And if I would broadcast that multiple times per day across different channels, that a strange thing started to happen. I started to be able to siphon off, if you will, engagement, cash for Dave, interest in MindFire, okay? Something about this process was starting to motivate them. So going back to where we were at MindFire a few years back, where I was trying to figure out how do we restart our lead flow, this came to mind. Two things happened that brought this to mind. One is I suddenly remembered that experience with homeless Dave. And second, if you look at the screen, this is my business partner, Mo Farshid. He raised this thing for me. He said, you know what, why don't you try being more visible out there in social? Why don't you start getting out there and being a voice? And it was suddenly right then that I remembered this experience with homeless Dave, my friend. I was like, he's right. Why am I not doing this? Okay. And so we started to amplify this process. And what we found was that words, pictures, audio, shared in a way that we had never done before, I'm going to show you how to do that, were effective at bringing us leads. Okay. Now, what started to happen is we started to get so many leads. Certainly not all of them were good, but we started to get a little overwhelmed with the inbound flow. Okay, so we had to kind of turn it down a little bit. I'll show you kind of what that looked like. What we were finding, you're probably wondering exactly what was it that worked, Dave, is that content, a specific kind of content, kind of like what you see here on the screen, when shared, was starting to elicit a response that was giving us what we were looking for, okay? So if you're taking notes, and again, I'm gonna send this to you afterwards. I have a PDF that you can look at, okay? In a nutshell, here's what you need to do, men and women. This is what you need to figure out, and this is where I'm gonna break apart for you, okay? First of all, you need to decide what modality you're most comfortable in, whether that be writing, whether that be doing videos, recording a podcast. Second, you need to create that content in a way that provides your audience with value, okay? If you've tried to do this before and you failed, it's likely because of this step, okay? I'm gonna tell you more about that here in a minute. Third, you need to broadcast that information multiple times per day in places where attention is high, cost is low, and where your tribe is hanging out, okay? That's part of what I mean by OptiChannel, optimal channel. You need to find the place where attention already exists, where the cost to engage is low, and where your tribe is present. I'm gonna show you some of those places today. And then fourth, you need to figure out how to siphon that and turn that into leads, turn that into sales, okay? So that's the process, the framework that I'm gonna be showing you today. And when you put that into place, this is what happens. That's how these leads begin to flow, okay? So when we started this, we found that content at the top of that circle that I showed you is essential, okay? But here's what I wanna know from you. If you've tried creating content before, have you found that to be difficult? Give me a yes in a chat if you know that creating content is not an easy thing, okay? Give me a yes, all right? Go over to the chat, give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. We tried creating a podcast, okay? It's great. Podcast is wonderful, but that's not always the easiest way to communicate one's message. We did videos, but again, not always easy to do. Some of you are probably thinking that, hey, I don't want to even be on camera, right? So what we found is that while these things were very good, including like this ebook here that you see here on the screen, they worked very, very well. The cost was high, okay, either in time or money. This one, in fact, if you look at the screen here, costs about $25,000 to produce and communicate, okay? So if you've tried this before and you haven't found that it's easy, it might be because of this problem, all right? That creating good content is time-consuming and expensive. Not to mention that even if you have that content, getting it out into the world across all of these optimal channels, that's not easy either. In fact, it was difficult for us, and we're a marketing technology company, okay? So we hit this roadblock. It was so freaking hard to create good content, and it was even harder to be hamstrung by technology that wouldn't enable us to get this out in an easy way, okay? It was really frustrating. And so it was at that point, men and women, that we discovered this mechanism for using other people's content. If you're taking notes, write that down. This is where I'm gonna break that down for you. Other people's content in this OptiChannel framework to create more leads for us, okay? So I highly encourage you to create your own original content, but it is not always necessary, okay? This is what we found, this is what we uncovered that allowed us to create those 4,258 leads, that we could use other content, other people's content, and siphon the interest, okay? Now, what we ended up doing to make this even easier for us was we created this technology, this in-house kind of technology project to make all of this easier. We called it Da Vinci. Some of you may have heard that before. What we were trying to do is solve some of those technical challenges that I alluded to a moment ago, and put into the software the knowledge around how to share this content and extract the leads from it in a way that's meaningful. Okay, and so we were successful at that. I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. But the key is that instead of having to wait months or weeks or days to create this content and get it out, we were able to do it in minutes, okay? Not being held hostage by any one of those problems. So that's what I want to do for you. I want to show you how you can focus on the right stuff so you don't have to go through all of the pain and suffering that we did, all right? When you do this yourself, I saw many of you resonating with this, you know that it can be time-consuming and expensive, right? When you create content, you know that you have to come up with an idea. You've got to write the content or pay somebody to do it. You got to put it into HTML, maybe put it into WordPress for your blog, set up tracking, emails, all of that stuff, right? Easily can add up to, let's say, $10,000 to do, right? But what I dislike even more than the $10,000 is that you can spend all that time and money doing that, put your message out there, and it doesn't work. Nobody clicks on it. Nobody reads it. Give me a yes in the chat if you've experienced that before. Do you know what I'm talking about? You spend all this time, all this money, put it out there, it doesn't work. What I'm going to show you helps you leapfrog that situation, okay? So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to go through secret number 1, which is how to ethically steal other people's content and use it in this OptiChannel mechanism. Secret number 2, I'm going to show you how and why you should feed this into an engine, okay, that creates more leads for you. And I'm going to show you how you can do that relatively quickly. And then thirdly, secret number 3, how you can 2x your results by tapping into a strategy that less than 1% of people actually employ. Many people don't even know about this, okay? So let's get inside of secret number 1, how to ethically steal content that's already working. So if you're taking notes, again, I will send this to you, but please write this down. Now's the time to write down the OptiChannel content hijack, okay? That's the first part of the framework here that I want to share with you, how it all fits together, okay? So as I was preparing for this, I thought back to, okay, how do I explain this to people in a way that makes sense? How did this even come to exist, okay? And as I was thinking about it, I remembered that when I was a child, my goal was to be a concert pianist, okay? And because my mom raised me and my sisters as a single mom, we didn't have a lot of financial wherewithal. So for me to actually find good teachers to be able to show me how to do this was almost impossible. We just couldn't afford it. So in my little brain, what I started doing is reverse engineering how to be successful at music by modeling what I was seeing other successful pianists do. So I would look at how they would practice, how they would memorize music, how they would perform on stage, how they would compose, and then try to deconstruct that for myself. I did that as a child. I was a nerd then. I haven't always been as cool as I am now. But I used that kind of reverse engineering psychology to help propel me to one of the top pianists in the state. And there's evidence on YouTube. I'm not going to bore you with that, but it worked. And what I found is that this kind of modeling, this reverse engineering process, as I got older, wasn't something necessarily unique to my little brain. What I found is, for example, Steve Jobs, I found this old VHS tape where he was saying, you know, Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. And we've always been shameless at Apple about stealing great ideas. Now, I don't know how you feel about Steve, put that aside for a moment. But then my friend Tony Robbins also says, if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is find a way to model those who have already succeeded, okay? And the reason why I'm telling you this is when we were in that part of the process, we were trying to figure out how to solve this content challenge, right? I wondered to myself, is the same true for marketing? For some reason, I had this notion that to be good at content marketing, at using marketing in this way, you had to come up with all this creative ideas yourself. And I thought, maybe that's not the case, okay? Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So I thought, is there a way that I could use this same philosophy and apply it to marketing? And you probably say, okay, I get it. Model content that's already working. Use somebody else's content, but how? Where do I find that content? How do I know if it's gonna work? And what do I do with it? So here's the framework for that, okay? It has 3 key steps to it. Step 1, you need to find content that's already working. Step 2, you need to hijack it, okay? Forgive me for use of that word. That's the best thing I could think of to describe this part of the process. You need to hijack it by adding your call to action, and then you need to share it. Let me show you what I mean, okay? So if you're taking notes, step 1, step 2, and step 3, this is the hijack framework, okay? So here's step 1, which I remember learning because I was laying in bed, unable to sleep, worried about all of this marketing and sales stuff. And what I did, like many of us do, I pulled up my phone and I went to Facebook and started scrolling through. And look what I found. Look at the screen. I found that if I typed in direct mail, and you can do this for any product or service, okay? If I typed it in up here, what I found is that I could see posts that other people had done about direct mail, okay? Can you see that here? And as I scroll down the page, I noticed like this post here has 947 engagements. This one has 704. This one has 68. And what happened is the light bulb went off for me, and I said, huh, this means that basically Facebook is showing me which content people like. And so I ran over to LinkedIn, did the same thing on LinkedIn, and I found that the same was true there. LinkedIn would give me insight into content that was already resonating with the audience, with the intended audience. And so what I did is the next day I ran into the office. I think I got so excited I opened my car door right onto a pole and I dinged it because I was thinking to myself, okay, I got to talk to my team about this. I got to figure out, is there a way where we can use this insight to write content that's very similar, like mirror the headline, mirror the copy, mirror the imagery, or even more crazy, is there a way we could actually use that content itself because we already know it's working? And when I shared that with my team, they were like, what are you talking about? What are you smoking, right? And I bet some of you are thinking similarly. I know it's kind of a strange, unorthodox idea, but let me show you what I found. Here's step 2, okay? I found this service called Sniply, okay? You can go out and get it yourself. They have a free tier. It's not a MindFire product. Here's what it does, okay? Here's the hijack part. You can take an article. Let's see this one here on the screen. Any piece of content, virtually any piece of content. And what it allows you to do is take that URL for that content and then superimpose on top of it a banner, okay? That what we call a call to action. That when you share that piece of content, somebody looks at it and says, huh, this is interesting. They keep reading, they scroll to the bottom, they see a banner, and they can click on that to learn more. The key is the way you're hijacking that is you are imposing your call to action on that content. Does that make sense? So what I did is I did what every good marketer, every good sales, every good business owner has to do. I reached into my pocket, I grabbed my wallet, which is here somewhere in the room as well, pulled out my credit card, and I actually paid for that service because what it enabled us to do is take any piece of content and create a unique URL for it, see here at the bottom, and superimpose a call to action that would actually siphon people over to us. Give me a yes if you just had a light bulb go off, okay? Give me a yes if you're understanding what I'm talking about. Give me a yes. So what we started doing then is taking these unique Sniply links and sharing them through email, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, like you see here on the screen. And what was happening is a subset of those people started to convert into leads for us without us having to even create any content, okay? So here, let me give you one of my hacks if you're gonna try to apply this yourself, okay? So remember, first you have to find content that's already working. Second, you have to hijack it by adding a call to action. So here's a way you can find content that's already working. It's a service called BuzzSumo. Again, it's not a MindFire service, write this down. This is something you can use, okay? You can go to BuzzSumo. You can do a search, and what it does is it pulls all of the related information, all of the articles in for you into one place. It makes it much more simple than having to go to, like I did, go on your phone and search in a bunch of different places, okay? This is one place where it pulls together Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, etc. Okay, all into one place. So again, I pulled out our credit card, did what every good salesperson, marketer, you have to invest in yourself, have to invest in your company. I paid for this service because it gave us immediately insight into content that was already working, okay? Now, I know that when I've trained others on this part of the process right here, typically, and there's too many questions coming in, I can't see all of them right now, I want to stay focused on you, but I bet that somebody already has made this statement, which is that, look, do I really need to use somebody else's content? I can come up with stuff that's probably better than the others, or my stuff is going to be unique to my market. And that might be true, but here's something that I always want you to remember as you're thinking about this. You can always tell who the pioneers are because they have arrows in their back and they're lying face down in the dirt, okay? What does that mean to us here? What I'm trying to say is that why do you need to recreate the wheel here? Why don't you just model what's already working? Why don't you leverage what's already working, okay? I'm not suggesting you do anything unethical. I'm just saying use this technique to share other people's content with a banner of yours superimposed on it, okay? And this is what allowed us to begin to leapfrog some of that difficulty in creating quality content. Are you guys getting this? Are you guys and girls getting this? You seeing how this comes together? So here's the framework again. Find content that's already working, number one. Two, hijack it by adding your call to action. And three, share it with where your audience is, okay? Here's Robin. She's one of the many people who have gone through this process. And I won't read you everything that she sent here in this text, but the key is here is something that she says here about this process. If I had understood what this was all about, I would have made sure that we had done it earlier, okay? I can't believe we haven't been doing this the whole time. That's the key here, men and women. That's the kind of realization that I want you to have here, is that when you put this to work and you employ this model, it will deliver you results, okay? Here's another example. This happens every day to us. Look at the screen here. This is not uncommon. Are there any package or print and label packaging folks here on the call? Give me a yes if that's you, okay? What we did is we found a video that was working for, I forget who the company was. We asked for permission to share that video. It showed a unique packaging process. I think it was with an HP Indigo 20,000, if I'm not mistaken. We shared it, and guess what happened? People came to us asking for the service that was in that video, okay? Because we knew how to share it in the right way, which is key. I'm gonna tell you more about that in a second. Here's a real example. This was a person that was looking for a specific requirement to wrap this glass jar. It was a big company, okay? He had tried to go to Google, he had tried to go to other places and couldn't find what he was looking for. We happened to hit him on the optimal channel. He engaged because we know how to engage people, and he had a real need that we were able to then facilitate with a client of ours, okay? That's the difference that this can make, okay? This is a whole new way of communicating and engagement that you're likely not tapping into. So for us, the results were, for us here personally at MindFire, this is how we made that leap from, around 2,000 leads to over 2xing it, the 4,258 leads, was using this technique, okay? So you're probably thinking now, all right, I think I understand that, Dave, but how do I find good content? And then more importantly, even though I understand what you're saying here, how exactly do I use it? What do I do with it, okay? And so now let's turn the page to secret number 2. So if you're taking notes, make a new section here. And I want to show you how and why you need to feed this content into a very specific process that creates leads for you, okay? And this part of the framework is called the OptiChannel engine, all right? This is the part of the framework where I want to show you kind of a workflow, if you will, of how to start to get your content out there, all right? So what we found in kind of the most simplistic example that I could render here for you is that if we would find a good piece of content, like this one you see here in the middle of the page, and we would share that across different channels, whether that be social or email, that we would drive traffic to that piece of content. And what I noticed is that by simply sending another few emails, let's say a second and a third email, which most people don't do, usually they just send one email. But if you get yourself into this mindset of engaging with your audience more than once, even for the same piece of content, you can drive a lot more traffic. You can squeeze a lot more out of it than you would otherwise. And if you embed or superimpose one of these call to actions, see this here, right here? Imagine this was a blog post with a call to action for a webinar. Some percentage of the people looking at your content, even if it's not your own, will click on that button and register for the webinar, okay? So this is a very simple example of a workflow that I wanna show you how to build, okay? Now, as you look at these workflows, there are engagement points where, as a salesperson, you want to know when to pick up the phone or when to send a personalized email to follow up with that individual, okay? So there's key interesting moments that you need to be tuned into. I want to show you how to do that as well so that you're not missing opportunities to engage with your audience, whether that be your clients or your prospects. You push them through a process like this. This kind of workflow is the engine that you need to feed the results that you're looking for. Now, as I mentioned to you, when we first started doing this, we found that it was difficult. The technology really didn't exist to make this easy. That's when we created this side project that has now become a fully functioning service for many, many, many people called DaVinci, okay? And what it does is makes this process a lot simpler, and I think it's helpful for you to kind of see that to understand how it can apply to you, okay? So this is kind of the new way of doing things. This is how DaVinci makes that easy. And I want to know, do you want to see that? How many of you guys and girls want to see that? Give me a yes in the chat if you kind of want me to walk you through that, okay? It'll only take a few minutes. What I want to show you here, this is the part of the framework called the OptiChannel engine. It shows you how you can, step one, define your target market, define that content that you need, add that call to action, and then in step 3, drive this traffic to a proven workflow, okay, and then siphon that off to capture leads for you, all right? So here's what I want to show you there, and I want to walk you through each of those pieces.
Now, as I've shared with you today, OptiChannel is a completely new way of approaching marketing and sales. See where it says here, OptiChannel, okay? And what's cool is that these OptiChannel techniques, these strategies, are built right into the software. And I'm going to show you just a few of the most useful things here in this very, very short demo. I'm not going to have time to show you everything, but let me try to hit on as many things as I can in the time that we have, okay? So when I say OptiChannel, and as I'm showing you this, remember, it's all about creating engaging content and pushing it through the most relevant communication pipes, the different ways we can get to people, like email, social media, LinkedIn, et cetera, all the stuff that we've been talking about, okay? Keep in mind, this is not marketing automation where you automate everything and you completely remove the human touch, okay? Yes, there are things that the system does that helps make your job much easier, that automates a lot of the redundant tasks, but we're not talking about marketing automation where you automate everything and you completely remove the human aspect out of things, okay? Also, this is not cross-channel where you say the same thing on every channel and you blast it out. This is about a completely different way of doing things where you're using the optimal channel to reach the particular individual that you're talking to and contextualizing the content, the information that you put in front of that person to then get them to engage, okay? Does that make sense? So let's start by looking at the My Market section. This is where you go in and tell DaVinci, look, I want to target people in this particular market, and here is the kind of content that I think would be of interest to them. So let's just say, I know we have a lot of people here that are interested in LinkedIn, so I'm just going to create a fictitious target market of people who are interested in LinkedIn. Let's say that's your customer base. So I'm going to call that target market LinkedIn, and then I'm going to enter in a keyword here, LinkedIn, just because we want to find content that's related to that term. I go ahead and click save, and now what's happening is behind the scenes, DaVinci is finding optimal content that will resonate with that market so that you can use that content, put it in front of that audience, and siphon engagement, siphon interested people into your system here to begin to engage them and further nurture them, okay? So let me show you how that works. Okay, so you can see it found 30 articles for us. I'm going to go ahead and click on this target market that we just created. And now what you can see is the system has returned a whole bunch of content that we can start to use and put in front of our audience, okay? And it's also bringing back different social signals for you, like how many people on Facebook have engaged with it, how many Twitter shares it has, how many folks on Pinterest have pinned something about this particular piece of content. If it's a video, how many views it has. And so all of this information you can begin to use to understand how is this content already resonating with the world, with your audience, so that you can pick something that seems to make sense for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick this one here from TechCrunch. Here, let's take a look at what that looks like. LinkedIn is going to sunset Sales Navigator for Gmail. Okay, interesting. I don't know what the full context is, but let's just imagine that this was a good piece of content from TechCrunch that we want to put in front of our audience. Okay, so we're going to use the TechCrunch content and use that to engage our audience. So what we do is we come over here, we click Add a Call to Action, and let's imagine, men and women, that you are going after folks who are interested in LinkedIn, and you want to tell them that, yes, in addition to using LinkedIn, you should also be using direct mail, okay? Now, this is because I know we have a lot of agencies here with us. We have a lot of printers here in the audience. So I'm going to add this call to action overlay, okay, on top of that TechCrunch content. So watch. When I click preview, what happens is, here's the article, and now here is your overlay down here at the bottom that is offering a study, okay? The future of direct mail. It's a study that we can provide folks, all right? So on top of the content that you're now sharing from TechCrunch, you have your own overlay that you can use to siphon interest over to your products and to your services. Does that make sense? Drop a yes if you're understanding what I just showed you there. So I'm going to go ahead and click Launch here, okay? See this green button, Launch. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to call this LinkedIn example here. What I can do is I can have DaVinci go and automatically start to create a campaign for me, an OptiChannel campaign that is going to allow me to send emails and other outbound communication to get this content in front of people. And then when folks click on that call to action overlay, that red thing that we had there at the bottom, we're going to turn those into leads, okay? So normally in other systems, or if you were doing this the old-fashioned way, you'd have to do all of that by hand, okay? I'm going to show you how DaVinci does that all for you automatically. So what you're seeing now are a listing of all of my campaigns, including the two automagical, if you will, automatically created campaigns that DaVinci just made for us, okay? So the first one I'm going to show you here is what we call a drive traffic campaign. That's just a workflow, a recipe that the system already knows is going to work well to drive folks to that content, to put that content in front of folks so that they can engage with it, okay? And what the system has already done inside of this blueprint, inside of this recipe here, is used the content that we just found. Here, let me show you. when it creates the email for you in this sequence, it goes in and actually creates the subject line. It'll pull in the image from that page. It'll find content so that you have a running start at using this content to put in front of your audience. Does that make sense? So one of the things that you're noticing here is that MindFire DaVinci, unlike other systems, there's a lot of areas where the system is going to do stuff for you, okay? It's not an empty system, unlike others or the things that you may have to do manually. Here's a simple example that a lot of folks find tremendous value in. For example, the footer here where you've got your phone number and your address, or just inserting the logo up here at the top. Those are things you don't even have to worry about. Once you've set them up here in your settings, saves a tremendous amount of time. It just automatically puts that in there for you. Now, let's say you want to change how this email looks, and we want to put the logo on the button, let's say on the left, okay? Just click that, changes the template, automatically moves that logo up here as well as the button down here, all right? And then when you're ready to send yourself a test, you just find yourself here in this list, click Send Test, and you're ready to start to try on that email and see how it looks. Now, of course, you can go in here, any one of these areas, and change subject line, right? You can put in any subject line there that you want. You can change the content here. You can say, have a wonderful day, and I'm going to pick somebody here on the line. Love, who do we have here? I'll say Lisa, right? So you can put your own name in there, Lisa, at the bottom of the email there. Just hover over the area and type, and you're good to go. Now, remember, I told you if you want to maximize your opportunity with this OptiChannel engagement, don't just stop at one engagement, okay? Add another message to the sequence here. You can simply just clone that first email, the one that we just sent here, and create a second one in that sequence, okay? We could say, let's send this one 2 days after the last one at, yeah, sure, that looks like a good time. Go ahead and save that. And what we're doing now is on day one, everybody gets the first email. Day 3, they get this second touch driving them to that content. Does that make sense? Now, something that you should be very attentive to are the notifications and alerts here, okay? So as fastidious marketers, fastidious salespeople, we need to know when people are engaging with certain areas of our workflow, okay? So as an example, if folks are opening, you can be alerted to that, all right? If you want to pick up the phone and call folks when they open your emails, you have a very easy way to turn on that alert here. Or if you want to know when they visit that content, when they're actually reading it, you can turn that on, okay? So it's very simple to add those alerts. Just find the person or the group of people that should be notified. This could be you, your sales team, your business development team. Add them here, click save, and you're good to go, okay? The last thing you need to do is schedule when you want this email to go out and to which groups of people you want it sent to. These are folks that you've uploaded into the system or that have engaged you in other campaigns, and now you can put that content in front of them. Does that make sense? Now, I see some questions coming in around the templates up here, folks. I'm going to try to answer all of those questions towards the end in the Q&A, but let me just briefly touch on that. The question is, can we change the template? How can we control the layout here? So if you look over here on the left-hand side, thank you. I think that was Jim who asked that question. I'm going to go over here to the asset library. I'm just going to very quickly show you, Jim, and everybody else who's wondering that. If you want to create your own email layout, you can do that either here through this drag and drop interface where you're creating your own email. Let's say you want to put in another couple of sections here. You just drop that in. Let's say we want to put in a button here, right there. You get the idea. You drag and drop the different elements to be able to create yourself a new email, okay? So that's one way you can do it. Jim, I don't know if you know HTML, but if you do, if you have HTML folks on your staff or if you yourself know HTML, you also can just get right into the HTML and start to put in HTML right over here on the left-hand side. You can see it rendering over here on the right, okay? So you have both options to customize the layouts to meet your specific needs, okay? So recap what I've shown you so far. DaVinci has found us content. It has even created a campaign for us to start to put that content in front of people. And now what I want to show you is how DaVinci makes it easy for us to then take folks who are viewing that content, who then click that red call to action banner at the bottom and siphon those into a campaign that's going to turn those readers into leads, okay? So that's done through a captured lead blueprint, okay? So I'm going to click on what DaVinci has created for us there, and basically a captured lead blueprint, this recipe, what it's doing is giving you a simple way to take people, whether they be folks from your emails, from content that you're sharing, from posts that you're doing on LinkedIn, wherever you're engaging people, okay, you can bring them to a landing page like the one you see here on the screen. Look at the screen right here. This is one that the system automatically created for you, okay? This is based on that content that we put in front of folks a second ago. Just like in the case of the email, you can go in and you can change the content, you can change the text. DaVinci has given you a running start in all of those areas, but you can go in and change any of this to meet your specific need. If you don't like the form that's over there on the right-hand side, let's say we want to find a different one. Here's a different form. You can go ahead and just select another one. It puts it right in there for you. You've got different layouts, of course. If you want to put this content in a different order on the page, you have all of that flexibility to be able to create a landing page that's going to turn readers and viewers of your content into actionable leads, okay? And similar to what I showed you a moment ago, you've got a email sequence that after somebody engages with this landing page, after they submit that form, you can now start to drip on them with additional content, okay? You can create a series of emails here. See how it says add another email? You can add another one here in this sequence to begin to drip on those individuals and engage them to continue to increase your chances at moving them through the sales process, moving them through the sales funnel. Does that make sense? And because we need to be very attentive to all of the signals that folks are giving out as they work their way through these OptiChannel campaigns, you can turn on these notifications in order to understand what's happening and use that to your advantage to pick up the phone, walk over to their office, knock on their door, go see them at a trade show, whatever the case may be. Turn on these alerts so that you're notified as people are engaging with your content, okay? All right, now let me show you one more thing, very, very, very important for many of you. Now, this is where you are going to be uploading your data, your CSV files. This is where you're going to be following up on your leads. This makes it very simple for us to see the leads that have come in and then follow up on those. There's a lot here I'm not going to have time to go into. I want to show you one very specific thing that's going to be very helpful to many of you, okay? So what happens here is as you upload data, or as folks begin to give you information about themselves, you have the ability to begin to enrich that data. For example, let's imagine this list here did not have emails in it, okay? You could append emails to this list automatically, just like that, by selecting that option. There's a small per email match fee that the system will add to your invoice, but that's it, okay? So you could take a list, whether it be from your CRM, from your point of sale system, from business cards, from trade shows, from wherever you have this data, or as people provide it to you, and automatically enrich it with the touch point here, like email, for example, that I have here on the screen, so that you can begin to engage with those folks in a way that's meaningful to that particular individual, okay? So there's a lot more here that we didn't cover, including how the system is prompting you and helping you each step of the way, in addition to our human support team, be able to put your hands around this stuff and actually make it happen. So there's a lot of intelligence built into the system so that you don't have to do that. You don't have to know those things, okay?
Awesome, folks. And I see a bunch of questions coming in, including from Mike saying, "Wow, are you saying the system creates a landing page on its own?" Yes, that is what we're saying. We'll answer more of those questions here in just a moment. So that's the framework, folks. Step 1, define your target market, define great content. Step 2, add your call to action. Step 3, drive traffic using a proven workflow. That's what those blueprint recipes are. And then step 4, use a siphon to capture leads, okay? And what we have found and what our members have found is that this is the easiest way to ride this, this new vehicle of opportunity, if you will, to take hold of OptiChannel, to find, to create, and engage your audience in a way that's going to help you create more leads. Here is an example from Fred Bonebreak. Fred is a good a member of ours and a good friend, and he's learned this process, and he's actually done 2 things. Number 1 is he uses this to drive his own business, to help generate more leads for himself, but also second, he is selling this as a service to his clients, okay? So for those of you who are agency or some sort of service provider, that's another thing that you can start to do here, okay? And as we've enabled him to do this, as you can see here, you know, he says it gives him the opportunity to present a larger footprint in the market and has allowed us to compete with much larger businesses, okay? So that's the power of this type of OptiChannel framework. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm keeping an eye on the time. Let's move on to secret number 3, okay? And if I'm like you, I would be thinking around this point, all right, I understand how I'm supposed to find good content. I know that I need to share it regularly. Shame on me for not having done that already, right? But how do I fill the top of my funnel with more people? I don't have a big audience like, maybe like Dave here at MindFire or some of the folks out there. I don't want to pay Google and Facebook for leads. How do I do this? Are you wondering that? Here's where the attention arbitrage framework component comes into place, okay? So that's the third framework that I want to share with you here, all right? Jot that down, attention arbitrage framework. I know it sounds fancy, but let me break it down here for you, all right? We were in a similar situation to you when we uncovered this, where money doesn't grow on trees, right? So you got to be creative, especially now, in figuring out how do I fill the top of my funnel, okay? And so again, as I was thinking about how this came to be, I was, again, literally laying in bed, looking at my phone, and I happened to be on LinkedIn. And what I found is, and some of you already know this, but let me unlock this for you. You can, on LinkedIn, build a list, a very targeted list of people in a very specific industry or with a set of title attributes that are specific to the folks that you want to engage, okay? And if you don't know this, it's a very, very powerful feature, all right? So what we found is that there were all of these perfect people sitting inside of LinkedIn. And here's the point of this, folks. As we explored LinkedIn, we found that it's on fire. And some of you know that. Some of you have heard us say that and don't understand what I mean by that. Let me explain to you. Right now, LinkedIn is like, if you can imagine you're this young lady here, LinkedIn gives you for free the ability to speak to a whole stadium full of people for free, okay? And the reason why that is, if you're taking notes, less than 1%, this is according to LinkedIn, less than 1% of people put out content. Yet there's a huge demand inside the LinkedIn platform for more content, okay? Their beast is hungry for this stuff. So that means if you create content, you can speak to an audience like this, of this size, okay? Now you might think, Dave, that's cool for you. You've got all these followers, yada, yada, yada. What about me? Well, here's an example. Mackenzie, who's chatting with you in the group right now, in the chat, look at her followers here, 891. You see that right here? Look at the screen. She put out a piece of content, and look at the eyeballs on this, 85,306. 85,306. Give me a OMG in the chat if that just kind of blew your mind. So here's somebody with a very small number of followers. That might be where you're at. You might have more, you might have less, but LinkedIn will bestow upon you that kind of visibility, okay? So Mackenzie's story, I hope that motivates you. The key that I want to leave with you here is that you don't have to have a big following. LinkedIn will put this content in front of people, provided you know how to create content in a way that's going to engage people, okay? So here's where the arbitrage concept becomes more clear. You can find underpriced attention, like on LinkedIn, and if you know what you're doing, you can siphon that over to yourself, okay? LinkedIn's not the only place. There are other places, all right? But what you need to do is learn how to contextualize the content. This is step 1. Contextualize the content by finding the channels that your people are hanging out on, okay, where the cost is low. And you need to publish there, okay? Remember, like I told you, on LinkedIn, less than 1% of people do this, men and women. It's like half of it, 1%. That means you're ahead of 99.5% of the others if you will do this, if you will take me up on this, okay? LinkedIn is hungry for you, all right? Now, LinkedIn is not the only place. I mentioned this in the training last week. Here's an example from Reddit. Look at this on the screen. This person here needs print vendors in California, okay? They're doing significant volumes in the millions. How many of you in this chat, there's hundreds of you here right now, I bet none of you saw this. Is that true? Did anybody see this? Did anybody actually tap into this optimal place to engage and hijack this, this engagement? I don't think any of you did. This is a lead that's sitting there for you right now, okay? Now, what I do for the community, there's a LinkedIn group. Actually, Mackenzie, if you want to put that in the chat, I help bring folks who have these needs into a LinkedIn group for folks like you to be able to then go in and start to siphon that engagement over to you, okay? So there are huge opportunities where if you just learn how to do this, you can tap into things that you're not doing. Let me show you one other thing here. As you're publishing this content and as people are engaging with it, all right, there's a very specific way that you should be following up with those people through email, as one example. Look at this screen here. Many of you got an email from me when you signed up, okay? Look at this poorly written email. Look, it's got a lowercase I, it's got a bunch of exclamation marks. In fact, many times they include typos. Why on earth would I do that? Why on earth do we do that? Anybody know? it gets engagement. People reply. This is actually a very short reply from Anne. Many of you, as you know, wrote back huge, voluminous pieces of your thoughts and of your perspectives. The other thing that we train you to do, is include things like your cell phone number. How many of you actually ask the people reading your emails to text you? Okay, look what I've added. Do you need encouragement? Text me here, 949-375-4459. Write that down. That's actually my phone number. That's the phone right here on my desk. Just yesterday, this came in yesterday, somebody texted me. I have no idea who it is. Hey, brother, I saw your PS. I'm a small business owner, just a guy with a truck and a couple of trailers and now a thrift shop. This is somebody who is reaching out to me saying, hey, I was touched by your message, and now we're starting to engage. My goal is not to sell him something. That's not my goal right now. My goal is to touch him in a way that maybe in a month, 2 months, a year, 10 years down the road, he thinks, gee, I need help. Let me go back to MindFire. But my goal is just to provide value and to be there for people. And when you incorporate these kinds of touches, if I could use that word, into your OptiChannel workflows, this is what starts to come out of it. I know that for many of you, one of your top challenges is you say people don't even respond to you. Am I right? Give me a yes in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. You put stuff out there, nobody responds to you. I can tell you, in fact, Mackenzie, who's in the chat, knows this because it happened yesterday. I mean, we're overrun with responses. I need 2 or 3 people to help me answer emails. It's ridiculous. But the point is we're moving into an era with OptiChannel here where it's not just B2B communication anymore. It's not just B2C. With OptiChannel, folks, it's what I call H to H, human to human, okay? And what better time than now for that? Your market needs that. The world needs that from us, okay? So I want to know, how many of you just had an aha moment? How many of you just were like Andy here on the screen? Go give me aha in the chat box if this just unlocks something for you, okay? This is the attention arbitrage. You want to find the channels where your people are hanging out, like LinkedIn or Reddit as an example. And beware of the fallacy of thinking that just because you're not there, that your customers aren't there. Don't fall into that way of thinking. That is not true. They're there. You just don't know about it, all right? So step 1, find out where they're hanging out. Step 2, publish content there, read content, engage with it, and then start to siphon, okay? The key is you need to know how to engage, and I've shown you some examples of that. Now, if you've been following along on LinkedIn, you know about Brian here. He's an example of somebody who's been able to siphon in a way that I want you to learn, okay? He has grown from, he started with around 800 followers, he jumped up to 5,000, and then from 5,000 to over 100,000, he's at 150 now. He started to use these techniques, okay? And here's what he was able to do, if you look at the screen. He says, siphoning LinkedIn's data has given me the ability to amass over 60,000 people, all within my target market, okay? He's using the attention arbitrage framework, and he's able to then extract those people from LinkedIn, from a platform he doesn't own. He's now extracted them into folks that he can communicate with, and he's generating revenue, over 6 figures from that process, okay? So that's the key, men and women. This is how it all comes together. Choose the modality, the way you want to communicate, words, video, and audio. Do it in a way that provides your audience value. Use the attention arbitrage to find where attention is high, cost is low, where your tribe already hangs out, and then learn how to siphon that engagement, okay? Now, let me ask you this. If you followed what I've shown you in this step, let's say in secret number 1, you know how to hijack content that already works, and then you use something like DaVinci in step 2 to build a workflow that's going to help you run this. And then you learn step 3, and you know how to tap into your market in these places where the attention is really high right now that you're not currently engaged in. Do you think you could improve your results? Go over there, give me a yes if you think this would improve your results. Give me a yes, okay? Yeah, yes, men and women, yes, yes. I see them coming in. Yes, you can. That's the whole way this works, okay? Now, I understand that for some of you, if you think about the 4,258 leads that I had on the screen at the beginning, you might think, that's just nuts. That would never happen for me. But what if you did this and you screwed it up and you got half of that? That would be, what, another 2,000 leads? For some of us right now, for some of you right now, that would be completely life-changing. But if you, let's say, screwed it up and totally screwed it up, and you had half of the half, that's another 1,000 leads, right? And you know where I'm going with this. If you totally screw this up, half of the half, you're down to, what is that, 500 leads? For some of you right now with nothing, with no leads, with no engagement from your audience, that's a huge deal, okay? You can totally screw this up. You can totally figure it out as you go along. But if you stick at it, you got to stick at it, please. You can have success that'll set you apart from your competitors, okay? Is that making sense? So let me recap, and then I want to move to the next part of here, the training. What I've shown you so far, how to ethically steal that content, how to feed it into an engine that's going to create leads for you, and then thirdly, how to point that at a place, at a market where attention is high, the cost is low, and your folks are hanging out, okay? That's what you've learned so far. Now, I got to ask you a question. How many of you feel a little bit like Kevin here? Because I know I talk fast. I know that I've gone through a lot. I will be sending this to you. Don't worry. But how many of you feel a little bit like this guy here? Give me a yes if you feel like Kevin here. I know that I go fast, right? But what I want you to know is that this is a new opportunity that I feel so strongly about you applying. I want to convince you to take action on this. If you just take this information and don't do anything with it, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, you're going to be in the same spot, okay? So here's what I want to do. I want to make sure you have success implementing this. This is what I want to talk about next, all right? How you can do that in a way where we can help you with that process, all right? So we've put together this package for you. It's called the OptiChannel Recession Buster, okay? I want to help you bust through this time frame that we're in, but I need to ask your permission. I want to know if it's okay if I spend the next 15, 20 minutes showing you what we've worked to put together to equip you to take this and really accelerate, okay? Is this something that you want me to show you? I need to get your permission. I want to get your permission. Because if not, I'm cool. We know how to do this. Okay, cool, yeah. All right. This is a package that we have put together to help you accelerate this, okay? And so when you invest in this today, I'm gonna pull these pieces apart and show you what you need to know, all right? The first thing I wanna do for you, this is something we've never done before, is I wanna give you access to that software for free for 12 months, okay? How many of you want access to DaVinci free for 12 months? Give me a yes in the chat if you want it. People are going nuts in there. We've only had time to talk a little bit about what's actually in there. I did a very quick demo for you, but I'm gonna give you the enterprise account access to DaVinci. You can send up to 30,000 emails. You can have up to 10,000 people, 10 campaigns, 2 users. So that means you can cancel other stuff if you're using other things to be able to do it for free basically here in DaVinci. You're going to be able to find the content that I talked to you about, be able to look for content that's already working. It's all built here into DaVinci, okay? All built in for you to be able to use in your OptiChannel workflow. Also, we've given you these recipes, these best practice workflows that you can use to drive traffic, to generate leads, to drip on individuals as they start to come in out of your siphon. Okay, so you're going to be able to do all of this, create the landing pages, to be able to turn on these alerts, build registrations for like web classes like the one that we're doing today you see here on the screen, send emails, send those real-time alerts, monitor all of it in a dashboard. All of the stuff that you need is going to be right there. Some of you may have a need for a CRM, be able to keep track of what's coming in. That's also built into the system, as you can see here on the screen. But you know what's really cool is that you also, once you use this, don't need some of the other things that you may have. You may be able to get rid of other landing page software or an email autoresponder, expensive marketing automation. You don't need programmers, you don't need designers, you don't need a webmaster to do this. There's other stuff that you can now put aside that you don't need, that you can save cash on, because this is going to give you what you need. Does that sound cool? That's what I want to make sure you have access to coming out of here. Now, the other thing, and we barely touched on this, folks, is as you're running these OptiChannel workflows, you're going to start to see your web traffic on your corporate website kind of move up and down, okay? Typically, you have no idea who those people are. But what DaVinci can do for you is start to unlock who those people are. So as you're siphoning that attention and your corporate website traffic is going up and down, DaVinci will unlock for you in this daily digest who the people are. See, you can see the names over here. Who the people are that are on your site. You're going to get an email just like this every day of people that you can start to engage on the phone or through text messaging to be able to follow up with them, okay? Here's Daryl. He uses this system. He says, I give the web traffic unlock 2 thumbs up. I have a suspicion that someone tried to get on our website semi-anonymously, yet DaVinci was able to snag them as a known visitor and turn them into a lead, okay? Is that cool? I wonder how many potential leads you've lost even just sitting here in this training with me right now that are on your website that you had no idea were looking at you, all right? That's what this will allow you to do to bust through this period of time that we're in. You need to have that information. Now, I can see that some of you are asking what happens after 12 months since we're including this free. Are you going to charge me $5,000 a month, Dave? No, we're not going to do that. At the end of 12 months, you can decide you want to keep your enterprise level, which is $297 a month. You can drop down to $97 a month, whatever is comfortable for you. Think about that in 12 months, okay? But for 12 months, there's not going to be any fees. Remember, when we started putting this together, putting this framework together, we had to spend thousands of hours. We have spent millions of dollars developing this technology. I don't want you to have to do that. You're going to save all of that time, all of that money, cut down on your trial and error dramatically. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing that we're including here is 12 months of the enterprise access, 30,000 emails, 10,000 contacts, 10 campaigns, 2 users per month, plus the content creator, which is where you're finding that resonating content, the web traffic unlock that's giving you the leads on your website. And I know that many of you want that hand-to-hand kind of instruction, okay? So we're also going to give you what we call our concierge orientation, along with our on-demand training videos to get you up and running, okay? That's a $5,988 list price value that we're including, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, I know that many of you right now are stressed because your sales have dried up and you need something to happen ASAP, okay? So what I want to do for you, because there's many of you that are in that situation, in addition to the software and the concierge orientation, I want to give you this 3-step drip sequence. Here's what that means for you. We've built this blueprint that allows you to drip on your audience in a way that communicates what you can do for them, motivates them, and inspires them to take action, okay? Now, a lot of you, when you meet somebody or when you engage with somebody, you're going to find that you want to add them to some sort of drip sequence to keep them warm, okay? Or you might, like many of our clients, find that, you know, your customers, your prospects, especially right now, just have simply forgotten about all the things that you can do for them. You need an OptiChannel sequence. It's kind of like set it and forget it, right? You set it once and it's just constantly working for you. That's what this is, and we're going to include that in there for you. It's templated. You just change out the content. We're going to instruct you what to put in those messages so you can start to drip on your audience, okay? In addition, we're going to create for you a custom email template, a layout that's specific to your business, as well as a layout that's specific to your business for the landing page, okay? So that's the first step here, is we're going to give you the software, as I mentioned to you, $5,988. And then secondly, the first part of this package is going to give you that 3-step drip sequence so you can start right now. The goal is to help you restart right now in engaging your audience, all right? That's a $2,050 list price for that second component there, all right? Total value so far, $8,038. Now, the next thing that I want to do for you is include this 6 weeks OptiChannel secrets training, okay? When we started this journey, we've been on here a little over 1 hour, right? I've tried to, as quickly as possible here in this 90 minutes, give you the frameworks, and I'm going to send you all the information, right? But you need to know the specific tactics. I've given you the strategies. Now you need to know the tactics, the nuts and bolts to accelerate. That's what this training class is all about. In week 1, I'm going to show you how to find and engage, find engaging content that you can use for yourself. I'm going to go deep into that. Second week, I'm going to show you how to distribute that content. Going back to something, Dave, you asked about at the very beginning, how to write engaging content, how to use that content in an engaging way to create leads. Step 3, I want to show you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Many of you are making mistakes there and leaving money on the table. Week 4, we're going to continue in LinkedIn, how to write posts there that get the engagement that you need. Week 5, I'm going to show you some shortcuts, if you will, to writing copy that motivates action. Even if you're not a marketer, even if you're not a copywriter, I'm going to show you ways that you can do that. And then in week 6, I'm going to show you what's called an OptiChannel custom audience. We're not going to have time to go into that right now, but this is 6 weeks of training that really consolidates the blood, sweat, and tears on our part that we've been through to uncover all the tactics, okay? You're not going to have to wonder anymore about how you do it. I'm going to take you through that. So Lee is somebody who went through it. Look what he said. We just finished our training, launched our first campaign, and we already have 1 new customer who has requested a quote on a $1,500 job, okay? Now, you might be thinking, okay, gee, that's great, but that would never happen to me. And if you're thinking that, I would just suggest to you that Lee didn't think that it would happen to him either. So you can't discount this stuff. This is happening inside of our program all of the time for people. You just have to get in there and start to do it. So when I look at everybody who has signed up today, I know that there's a lot of different people, and you might be wondering, would all of this process, would this training work for me? And I want to remind you that yes, it will work for the print community. Yes, it'll work for agencies, B2B marketers. It will work for marketing folks, for sales folks, for those of you in leadership. It's anybody who has a message that realizes that the old way, the stuff that we talked about that used to work in the past, just doesn't work anymore. Now you know why, and that's what this training is going to help you do, okay? If you're thinking that you can't do this because maybe your database is a mess, or you don't have anybody in your database, or you're not a marketer, or you've never had to market before, maybe you've relied on word of mouth, the phone doesn't ring anymore, don't let that hold you up, okay? That's what this training is for. So here's what we're going to include. The 12 months enterprise access to DaVinci. We're going to include the 3-step drip sequence with the customized email template and landing page. And then this third component here is the 6 weeks OptiChannel secrets training, okay? That's typically what we sell those trainings for, is at least $2,200 to folks that want that training. So the total value so far is $10,335. What else do you folks need? I don't want any excuses here, okay? I'm going to scan through the Yeah, there we go. People are saying, I want content. I want more content. I want valuable ebooks, white papers. Okay, so here's what we're going to do for you. Remember back, I showed you how this piece of content right here, look at the screen right here. This one cost us $25,000. And I bet if you had $25,000 laying around, you probably wouldn't be sitting here with me today, right? So I don't want that excuse to be on you anymore, that because you don't have great content, even though I'm giving you a way that you can find engaging content that works. I don't want you to have the excuse that you don't have ebooks, that you don't have valuable PDFs that you can put in front of your customers to engage them, okay? Because we're going to include 5 end-to-end campaigns, complete campaigns that are 90% done. You customize the last percent. Here's 10%. Here's what I mean. The first campaign I'm going to give you is this 3 ways direct mail and Facebook work together to increase leads, okay? That means that all of the emails, the landing page, an ebook, the thank you nurture sequence, all of that is ready for you to go, okay? Like I said, 90% ready. You customize the last 10%, see where here it has the logo and maybe your name and your colors. For those of you in the print community, for those of you who are agencies, for those of you who are service providers, this is a campaign you can immediately start to use to engage your audience and provide value, okay? The second one that we've created with USPS, it's called Still Relevant, a look at how millennials respond to direct mail. Direct mail, right now, folks, you need to communicate the importance of that to your audience. If you're in the print community, if you're a direct mailer, if you're an agency and are trying to help your customers grow leads, direct mail is a crucial component. The USPS has seen mail volume go down. You need to be part of making that go back up, okay? That's what this ebook will help you do, show the value and the importance of direct mail. So it includes all the emails, the landing page, an incredible ebook, and a nurture sequence to help you engage people and provide them value through this study here, okay? Also, again, this is specific to my print friends. If you want people to engage you and ask for samples, to ask you for different things that you can do for them so you can start to engage them, even if they're not ready to buy right now. If you want them to start to think about what's going to happen when they reopen, restart, we're including these print sample request campaigns, okay, for a couple of different industries like you see here: food and beverage, travel and hospitality, and the education vertical, okay? Those are industries that all need a variety of help, especially like hospitality, right? So we're going to include those campaigns for you. So hands down, creating this kind of content is the most expensive and time-consuming part, but you're getting all of it for free. We're going to include that in the recession buster here, okay? Also, I asked the team to create these quick starts for you. These are for different holidays throughout the year, as you can see here on the screen: Memorial Day, President's Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, holidays, 4th of July, etc. All right? So that you can use those touch points throughout the year, regardless of whether we're back out in the community or we're still kind of in the shelter in place, whatever. You can use it to engage your customers and your prospects to keep top of mind. That's included in here as well, all right? So here's what you're going to get again. You're going to get the 12 months enterprise access. You're going to get the 3-step drip sequence, customized email template and landing page. And I'm also going to include that 6 weeks OptiChannel masterclass training that I mentioned to you, and these 5 pre-built, ready-to-run campaigns, plus the 6 holiday quick starts. Again, what this allows you to do is quickly publish content that's very engaging to stay top of mind with your customers, customize the last 10%, the last 20%, upload your list, and send it, okay? And we're going to help you do that. The value of that is at least $5,070. That's typically what we would charge people for this, okay? Total value, $15,405. Now, here is Hemlock. I know that we have many Canadian friends here with us today. I believe Hemlock is actually a Canadian printer. They used a process like this to sell 21 print jobs worth $331,000, okay? How many of you would want $331,000 for 21 print jobs? Give me a yes in the chat if that resonates with you if you're in the print community, okay? The key is here, men and women, that they used one of these OptiChannel campaigns to bring in business, all right? Within 3 days, they had a 3.4% response rate, and those 21 print jobs worth $331,000 came in, okay? Are you getting this? Can you imagine if this happened to you? Now, I know times are tough right now. I know things are different, but you got to get out there. Now is the time to be doing it. Don't wait, all right? So when you do this, like I mentioned, you're going to be able to get rid of those email programs. You don't need a content writer. You don't need to have a contract developer, a graphic designer, engineer, none of those things. You don't have to do any of that. And as I mentioned, creating the content, the package I just gave you, those high-value PDFs, that's usually the most time-consuming and expensive part, okay? We've removed all of that to make this easy for you. How? Because it's 90% done, all right? We tried to get 90% of the way there for you, so the last 10% is what you need to customize. Are you getting this? I hope this makes sense for you. Now, some of you might be thinking, as I mentioned at the very beginning, if you learn how to do this for yourself, why don't you also offer this to your clients and generate revenue through the service? Just like I'm helping you do right now, why don't you be that resource for your clients? You can. Look, here's a company, not a print company, of course. This is a healthcare professional. He says, I've been thrilled with the service and support since I started using DaVinci for my marketing. They've been creative and adaptable, and my response rates have been strong. And here's the key, and sales are up, okay? So while the focus of what I've been sharing with you today is all about helping you generate leads and sales for yourself, don't forget, you can graduate, if you will, to offering this as a service to your clients. And to help you do that, let me show you what else we're going to include here, okay? So to sell OptiChannel to your clients, there's two new kind of quick start campaigns that we're going to provide you here, okay? Very much needed right now. The first is giving you a way to offer curbside ordering to your customers. So this could be for a restaurant, this could be for a food place, it could be for any type of retail location. How many of you have customers that are retail that need some sort of electronic ordering to be able to facilitate curbside pickup, or the kind of the era that we're in right now? This is something that a lot of organizations are struggling with. I didn't realize it when we first looked at this, but so many are having challenges with this. How many of you, give me a yes in the chat, if you have customers that are restaurants or retail locations that need electronic ordering? We are going to give you a blueprint, a quick start blueprint that enables you, as you can see here, to enable simple ordering for those customers, okay? So that's another service now that you can sell to your customers to be able to generate revenue, not only for yourself, but also help your customers through this process of restarting the economy, okay? Very, very important. The second type is a virtual event quick start, okay? So you might consider what we're doing right now a virtual event. You're gonna find, in fact, this morning I opened up, I think it was the Wall Street Journal or something, and I saw that Dreamforce, the big trade show that Salesforce does every year, has been canceled, right? Everything in the world seems to be put on pause, and more are going to virtual events. We have created a quick start that enables you to create a virtual event, market and promote it, to help your customers navigate this new time. How many of you have customers, give me a yes in the chat, where helping them run and execute an OptiChannel campaign in the quick start environment it would be useful? Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense to you. When you do this, folks like Bob McKay say that, you know what, this is something, now that I know how to put these things in place, how to use them for myself, I am now armed and dangerous to be able to offer this to my customers. Look what he says here. I'm amazed that more clients on all levels are not using it more, probably because a lot of old school mentality is still out there. And men and women, that's true, but that's your advantage right now. Now you know the secrets. Don't let that old school mentality hold you down, all right? Now you know what you need to do. So here's what you've got in the Recession Buster. Here's what you're gonna get. First of all, the 12 months enterprise access to DaVinci. I'm gonna give that to you for free. The 3-step drip sequence with a customized email template and landing page. The 6 weeks OptiChannel secrets training, gonna go deep inside those topics. We're going to give you the 5 pre-built, ready-to-run campaign quick starts with those 6 holiday templates that you can use. And we're going to give you the ability to start to sell these types of campaigns to your customers through the curbside ordering and the virtual events, all right? So the total value is of that curbside and virtual event is $3,250. That brings the whole package value to $18,655, okay? So that's the whole package, folks. Now, here's what I want to know. Obviously, I'm not going to charge you that $18,655, okay? But even if I did, and all it did was give you a proven way to generate leads without having to buy content or invest in creating new content or hiring graphics people, editing, all of that stuff, would it be worth it? You know, think about this. It cost us $25,000 for just that one campaign. So yes, $18,000 would definitely be worth it. But you know, even if all it did was just give you a way to run campaigns without having to hire people, right? I mean, it's tough right now. There's very little chance that you're going to be hiring, although some of you are. But let's say that you don't have to hire. You don't have to get any contractors. You don't have to get a migraine configuring campaigns. Would it be worth it? You're not going to find a good part-time person for $18,000. It's going to cost more than that. So yes, it's worth it. And then lastly, what if it gave you a way to just start to fill your funnel with an unlimited number of new fresh leads? I've shown you how you can do that. Would it be worth it? You can easily spend, you know, a lot more than $18,000 on Google, pay-per-click, Facebook ads, things like that, right? So in putting the package together, we had 2 choices here. Number one, we thought we can go really cheap and help as many people as possible with this, which is the goal. We still want to do that. But if we go super cheap, it doesn't let us stack on the value and support you in the way that you need, okay? So what we chose is the second option, which is to charge a little bit more and provide you better support. That's the direction we went. I hope you understand that, okay? So I'm going to share with you the price here in just a moment. I see people saying, lay it on us. But here's the last question I ask of you, and then I'm going to get you started here. What would having one successful campaign, one successful OptiChannel workflow like you see here on the screen that I'm holding up, what would that be worth to you? For some of you, That's worth another 10,000 a month. Some of you, that's another 20,000 a week. Some of you, that's 500,000 a month. Some of you, it's millions. What would that be worth to you? Or even just one imperfect workflow implementation of this. Remember, this thing here, $25,000 is what we paid. If you had $25,000, how many of you would pay $25,000 for this right now? Go over the chat and let me know. But what you have to remember is this piece of content was an investment that returned over $4 million in sales. Okay, so another way of looking at this is how many of you would invest $25,000 to get $4 million? Changes the picture, right? That's what this is. This is an investment in generating that revenue. And this process, this training, everything that I've shown you today, this is why people regularly pay us to run these campaigns for them. $8,000, $30,000, $50,000, $200,000 to set this up. That's not what we're charging you here today. Normally, and you can see the great value, this is typically what it retails for, $6,100, a $2,500 startup at a $300 per month. But because you've been through this part of the training with me today, you can get started now with this recession buster for $2,997. Okay, if you go to bit.ly, you see the URL there on the screen. It takes you about a minute to sign up, and 10 minutes later, you'll have your account created, and you'll be on your way to the concierge orientation session that we're going to hold on Monday for you, okay? Now, if some of you already have a free trial of MindFire with us here, just tell my team, tell Mackenzie that you're ready to get started, and we can do this for you. We'll turn this on for you, okay? But right now, men and women, I give you permission, load up that URL that you see here on the screen, bit.ly. Mackenzie put that in the chat, /yes Da Vinci, and go ahead, turn me down, whatever you need to do, open up a new browser window. When you do that, this is what you're going to see, okay? You're going to see this page, and what you can do is enter in your information here, shows you everything that you're going to get, everything that we just went through, and when you hit yes down here, it's going to get you signed up. We have two options for you here for payment, okay? One is if you pay up front, you get everything that I just described to you, all of these components for free inside of this package for $29.97. If you want, you also have the option of paying only $9.97 right now, and then 9 payments starting in 90 days. We know things are tough right now. We know the world is difficult. I want to help you. My organization wants to help you succeed, okay? If that's the better option for you, pick that. It is a bit more over time, but you have the flexibility, okay? If you need to spread it out, do that. Just pick whatever's best for you. Now, if you're thinking about this $29.97 in the context of our regular website, if you just went to our regular website, our standard product is $600 a month. That's the power of what I'm trying to do here for you folks. $600 a month times 12, $7,200, right? You can see the tremendous savings. You can see the tremendous value. And this product, this is our workflow designer that creates these OptiChannel workflows. That doesn't even come with the predefined content, the pre-built content that you're getting in this package. So you're getting that for free inside of this recession buster. So you now have two options, men and women. You can go to bit.ly /yes Da Vinci and sign up there, right? Or you could say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to take this leap of faith. I'm just going to stay where I'm at, but which, by the way, I'm going to make it risk-free for you. But you can decide to do nothing and just not move forward with this power that you have, okay? Or you could make this small investment today, look at all of the value that you're going to get, and give it a shot. We're going to be there to help you, okay, through this trying time. We're going to help America. We're going to help North America. We're going to help the world reopen, and you have a part to play in that, all right? Now, the way we're going to make that that guarantee for you is that if you sign up today and we fail to deliver on the expectations, okay, you can apply for your money back. You can expect from us technology, that orientation session, the training that I mentioned to you, the guide that you need to get started, one-on-one marketing consultation to help you through this process, and support, responses from our support team within 3 hours. What we ask of you, complete your orientation, go through the training checklist, make sure to ask for help, respond to our coaches when we come out to help you, okay? And launch at least one campaign. If you do all of those things and we fail to deliver on your part, on our part, you can get your money back, okay? I don't want that to be an excuse. I don't want that to hold you up. I don't want to force you into anything. Some of our competitors, as you know, would handcuff you into 12 months of contract. That's not our philosophy. Do you know what our philosophy is? We want to make the best product, the best service on planet Earth, and have that be the reason why you attach to us, okay? Not because we're handcuffing you in. So go to bit.ly /yes Da Vinci if you're ready to get started. The real question that you have to face right now, that you need to think about is it worth taking a few minutes of your time to do this now, and consider if it even only does half, this process does half of what I've shown you today, what would happen after you launch your first campaign? You could pay for this after you launch your first campaign, or after you sell it to your first customer, okay? bit.ly/yes Da Vinci. That's the power. Open up a new browser, go see that page I showed you a second ago. Again, what you're gonna get is the recession buster. Everything that you're gonna get, I'm gonna lay out here for you one more time, all right? Some people asking. You're gonna get the 12 months enterprise access to Da Vinci. That's a $5,988 value. You're gonna get the 3-step drip sequence with the customized email template and landing page, okay? These two things together, that's a $2,050 value. These two things together are the first step in your process, okay? You get the software, you get your first campaign, get it out the door. That's the first step. Then you're gonna get into the 6 weeks OptiChannel secrets training, okay, where we're gonna go deep into the tactics that you need to be successful. That's a $22.97 list price, all right? In addition to that, then we're gonna give you content, this pre-built, ready-to-run content that you can use now to start to amplify your message across these channels to get even more leads flowing into you, okay? That's a $5,070 list price. So that's the second piece. Get your software, get your initial campaign out the door, 1. Number 2, go through this training, we'll launch these campaigns, that's step 2. And then 3, for some of you, the curbside ordering and the virtual event campaign quick start is something you can sell to your clients, all right? That's a $32.50 list price. You can sell it for more than that. You can sell it to multiple clients. Total value, $18,655, okay? So here's kind of your success steps that we're gonna be walking you through when you sign up today, when you make the investment today. Step 1, you get your software, you get your first campaign up and running, okay? Step 2, start to reach out to new clients using these strategies by going through the training and running these pre-built, ready-to-run campaigns. And then step 3, we're gonna help you generate revenue by selling OptiChannel, okay? For those of you where this makes sense, that's what you're gonna be able to do. Now, one more thing for you. I wanna motivate you to take action here, okay? You've been through this training. I appreciate you doing that. But for the first 10 people who take action, you're the real folks that are gonna change the economy. You're the ones who are gonna change the face of business, who are gonna change your present reality. For the first 10 of you, here's what we're gonna do. If you're excited by what I've shown you already, make sure to have the browser window open, bit.ly/yes Da Vinci. Here's where you're gonna get. I told you that you could have up to 10,000 emails. What we're gonna do, you sign up today, we're gonna wipe that out. You're gonna have unlimited emails for the first 6 months, okay? For some of you, if you're a service provider, you're doing this for your customers, charge them for email, you're gonna make up the $2,997 right there, just with this, okay? Send unlimited emails. I told you could have up to 10,000 contacts, so I'm gonna give you unlimited contacts for the first 6 months. Let's bust through this recession together, okay? I told you could have up to 10 campaigns, so I'm gonna give you unlimited campaigns. Don't hold back, keep creating campaigns. I told you could have up to 2 users, let your team use it, let everybody on your team use this. Build campaigns for everyone, all right? Unlimited users. I don't know how to put a value on that. It's too hard. It just doesn't have, it's priceless. If you think about going to your like a HubSpot or a Marketo and say, hey, give me unlimited, they're gonna laugh you and say, get out of here, right? They will not do that. So that's only for the first 10 people. If you go to bit.ly/yes Da Vinci, again, this is what you're gonna see when you open up a browser. You're gonna enter in your first name, your last name, your company, your email address, a password. Pick a time zone so we can help set up your OptiChannel touches in the right time zone, very important, and enter in your payment details here. As I mentioned, you have the option of also just paying the $997 now and then doing the payments after 90 days, okay? So you pick whichever is best for you, and that's going to be your choice here on this page. Within a few minutes, you're gonna be ready to take the next step. Now, one more thing, again, this is only for the first 10 people, okay? For every lead that you create within your first 90 days, we'll pay you $1 up to your full $29.97 investment. So that means every lead that you create, we're gonna tally that up. I run over to, virtually now, to our accounting department and say, hey, write a check for John, right? And we send you a check, $1 for every lead that you've generated with this system, all right? This is my daughter. Obviously, she's not a member here. She's not paying. The point of this picture is I want you to send a picture like Paul here, like my daughter, holding that check, showing me what you've been able to do. So we want to motivate you for this, just for the first 10 people, for every lead you create within the first 90 days, we're going to pay you $1. Some of you are going to make your full investment back, all right? So that's the second bonus here for those of you who take action now. Lastly, and then we're going to take questions here. If you're not familiar with Voxer, it's a little walkie-talkie app. I'm going to give you a private channel where we can walkie-talkie back and forth. You have questions, you have insights that you want to share, you have things that you want my input on. Direct channel, walkie-talkie, private Voxer channel to me, okay? Don't do this for anybody else. So for the first 10 people, unlimited emails, unlimited contacts, unlimited campaigns, unlimited users, the lead gen payback, the private Voxer channel, which I described to you, I don't know how to put a value on that. That's only for the first 10 people. Join the other members like Fred and the others that I've shown you who have said that MindFire has earned 5 stars for them. Our support has been phenomenal. This gives you the ability to compete in a way that you haven't been able to compete before. Get started now, bit.ly/YesDaVinci. And now let me take a drink of water, and I want to try to answer as many questions as I can. So MindFire team, I don't know if you have been updating our little question log here. I'm going to go take a look at that right now and see what we've got. Let's see. Yeah, cool. We've got a couple here from Dave. The first one here says, hey, my company has a variety of different brands. Can we set up different campaigns using the different brands? Yes, you can. So Dave, to answer your question, you can create what we call sub-accounts. A sub-account is like a container, one for each of those brands. So if you want to offer the service to your clients, you would create an individual sub-account, one container for each of your clients. So let me know if that answers the question for you. Let's see, VP of Sales, I reached out to the, not sure what that question is. All right, Ryan Lamb is saying, regarding my markets, so this is where the software is helping you find content. I think that's what he's referring to. Are you able to search for specific companies, contacts, or individuals that are related to the content, like a product manager and associated content on those platforms? That's a great question. Let's see, Ryan, that's a good question. So that's something that we are in the process of investigating for you to be able to extract meaningful people. There are some ways that you can do that now in the system, but Ryan would love to talk to you more about that. That's a great thought. David is saying, well, there's a lot of Daves here today. Does DaVinci integrate with Zapier? Yes, it does. So for those of you who don't know what Zapier is a fantastic utility. I think there's a free level, and then there's a, I don't know, what's the entry level, Dave? You probably know, $19, $30. Basically, you integrate your DaVinci with Zapier, and then Zapier connects to like thousands of other applications on the other end, okay? So DaVinci integrates with Zapier, and by extension, all of those applications like Salesforce, you name it, all sorts of things. A few people are asking questions to clarify the call to action on the landing page in My Markets. Okay, I'm not sure what that question is. Could you give me a little bit more insight there, Mackenzie? We're getting some questions here. Can we also send text messages? Yes, you can send text. I didn't show that to you, but yes, you can certainly send text messages. Can I offer this deal to my customers, print shop owners? Lizanne, that's a question from you. Can you clarify what you mean by that? Yes, you can. You can be an affiliate. Maybe that's what you're asking, where you can offer this to your print shop customers. If that's what you're asking, yes, you can. Mackenzie is saying, people just want you to explain how the call to action on someone else's content works. Just walk them through it. Okay, so very simply, for those of you who are still wondering about that, I'm just going to use a piece of paper here to illustrate. Imagine this little piece of paper here is an article on some website. Let's call it Wall Street Journal, okay? This piece of paper represents the Wall Street Journal. Let's say this is something that's of interest to your audience. The call to action at the bottom is basically something that's superimposed over that content, okay? And in that call to action, in that little box that would appear at the bottom, you're able to write stuff and put a button that links to your website or links to a landing page like the ones I've shown you inside of MindFire, okay? So when you add that call to action on top of that piece of content, what's happening now is as you share that content, as that piece of that valuable piece of content is going out there across the internet, people are reading that content, they get to the bottom, they see your call to action. The key is you need to align, okay, your content that you're finding with your call to action. So for example, if this Wall Street Journal article is about direct mail, then your call to action at the bottom should probably be in line with direct mail. And it could be something that you offer direct mail related. They click that button, they go over to your website, or they go even better to an OptiChannel landing page, where you can then siphon that and turn that into a lead. So let me know if I clarified there for you. James is asking, will it work for B2C? Yes, this will work for B2B or B2C. Sharon is asking, what is the one marketing consultation? Mackenzie, if you don't mind answering that as well for anybody else who's asked, that's actually a one-to-one conversation that we do with you, private with you, to ensure that we are able to help your unique situation and help you understand how to navigate all of the different capabilities that you have to actually achieve your business goals. It's a one-on-one consultation, phone call, Zoom, like we're doing here, that we do specifically with you. All right, so let me see what else we have in here, and then I'm going to look over here in a second. Let's see, this VP of sales. All right, Mackenzie, the other thing, if you could help me with, you're probably slammed with questions. I see somebody asking, what was the LinkedIn group that we mentioned? Mackenzie, if you don't mind putting that LinkedIn group into the chat for everybody. So folks, even if you decide you can't get started today, I encourage you to go over to that LinkedIn group and start to look at the opportunities that are in there. Mackenzie's going to put it in. This is a private group. You need to request access. We make nothing on this. This is not some marketplace that we facilitate. This is just about connecting you with the supply to the demand and ensuring that you're continuing to drive more leads and more sales for those of you who are 2D printers or 3D printers, marketing service providers, et cetera, all right? So Mackenzie, if you don't mind, put that in there. Let's see, a couple things here. I want to remind you, if you need help answering any additional questions that I haven't hit, there's a phone number here, 657-549-0496. You can call that and we will be able to help you. We'll have a friendly person on the other end that will be able to answer any of your other questions, but don't delay. bit.ly/YesDaVinci. That's where you need to go now to get started, all right? Let me look through some of the other questions here. I love what I see, but did you say that you have an option where you do the work for us, some sort of done for you option? Interesting. I don't remember saying that, but yes, we do. You have everything you need inside of this Recession Buster package now, but for some of you, if you're interested, we do have an 8-week one-on-one, what we call fast launch coaching option, which is that we meet with you one-on-one for 8 weeks to help you put this all into play and give you individualized attention to help you launch. That's a $4,000 coaching package. So we're going to help you write the email copy. We're going to specialize it to your business. We're going to give you one-on-one coaching to dial it in specific to your business. If that's something that you want, you're not going to see that when you go to bit.ly/YesDaVinci, but let my team know in the chat and we will help you with that. All right. Can I sell this to my clients? Again, I saw a question similar to that from Lizanne. Maybe they're two different questions, but yes, you can sell this to your clients. After you sign up, you're going to be able to either you could become an affiliate, which means you could sell this service to other customers and sell them this package, or you can create a sub-account, like Dave asked earlier, and let's say you have a restaurant as a customer. You create a sub-account for that customer and apply this OptiChannel framework, either for like the curbside ordering or any of the other types of campaigns specific to that customer. So yes, you can sell it to your customer. Let's see. I'm a sales rep. Should I pay for this myself? Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely. We would definitely encourage you in that. And if you do that, please let me know who you are. I don't see the name here because that's the kind of action. That's the kind of action that I need you to take. That's the kind of action we want to reward. So that's a great question. I'm in sales. Do you think I can run campaigns on my own? Yes. If you haven't signed up yet because you're thinking that, maybe in the past you've had software that's hard to use or you won't be able to figure it out, don't worry. This is what we help you do in the onboarding orientation session. This is what we help you do through the training masterclass so that you know exactly what you need to do, okay? Remember, when I laid this process out for you, we initially spent tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of dollars investing in this process, all right? But we've made it so much easier for you to be able to follow these steps and be able to do what you need to do, okay? So yes, you're going to be able to run campaigns on your own. And even if you think because you don't have technical skills, doesn't matter. If you're not a marketer, you might be thinking, I don't have any marketing skills. That's also okay. That's one of the reasons why we have built the knowledge into the software so that you don't have to do that, all right? I see a question here saying, how technical do I need to be? You said it's easy, but you also, can you also code? What if you're biased? That's true. But here's how I would answer that. I think that even, let's imagine, because yes, I can code, but let's imagine for me, if I had an option to go into a solution where I coded everything versus a solution like what I've shown you today in the Recession Buster, I would pick that in DaVinci because here's the reason. When you're coding, it's very easy to introduce a bug by just simply slipping and typing the wrong thing, right? In DaVinci, we have, I don't know, I guess you could call them like guardrails that will keep you on the straight and narrow path, okay? So even for somebody like me, sure, I can still make mistakes, but it's far less possible in something like DaVinci where it's guiding me. So yes, you could be technical if you want to use it, but you don't have to be, all right? You don't need to be a technical person in order to use DaVinci. All right, MindFire team, keep those questions coming. Let me see over here in the chat. There's just so many places. Mackenzie, can you give me a few people to give kudos to if you can? I want to make sure I give kudos to everybody. Let's see. Kyle saying, I have a list, emails, and my marketing team uses Marketo where I can track who opens, clicks, and that's where it ends. I have little control over it, which I don't like. I'm interested but not sure what to do. Kyle, please talk to my team. We will help you. Kyle, if you haven't spoken to McKinsey yet, I'm sure you know her. I think you know her. I know the situation that you're in. Many people are in that situation where corporate is running, running everything, and you just don't have the access to break free out of that. Let us help you with that. Let's see. Anna Marie is saying, I'm one of the first 10. Awesome. Anna Marie, that is so cool. I am so happy to see you in the family. Let's see, what else do we have here? Andre is saying, am I one of the first 10? Please upgrade my account. Cool, that's awesome. James looks like he's on board. Looks like there's a lot of people that have come on board, folks. I see you asking, what does the 8 minutes mean on the screen? 8 minutes is so that I keep myself to the time that I promised you, the 90 minutes plus the 30 minutes of Q&A. So get started now, bit.ly/YesDaVinci, or call that number, or chat with my team if you have additional questions. Let's see, Scott is saying, can you please explain the monthly installment payment options again? Yes, sir. So Scott and others, if you're wondering about that payment option, so you could do it one of two ways. One is you pay the $29.97 up front now, or you pay $9.97 now, and we hold all of your payments for 90 days. Again, the recession buster is not a magic 8-ball. We don't know that this period is going to be 90 days, but we're thinking roughly 90 days. And then at that point, you have monthly payments for the next, if I'm not mistaken, 9 months after that, okay? So that's how we get it, that's how it works. Now you pay a little bit more in that model, but you have the flexibility if cash flow is an issue of being able to adjust your cash flow to maybe match then the income that you're generating from this type of marketing, all right? Let's see, the red ones, McKinsey, are, this is the note below. Above, you asked me to put the person on the okay, that looks like it's an internal comment. Congratulations are due to Andre, which is great. Andre, congratulations. Welcome on board. To Anne-Marie, to Mike. That's fantastic. Cool. Thank you all. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate McKinsey answering them. Anne-Marie is saying, I just want to clarify, I want to upgrade, but as one of the first 10, so I can get that extra special offering. Pretty please. Anne-Marie, my team will verify if you want a top 10, but we'll make sure of it, okay? Okay, McKinsey's saying, yes, you are. Okay, awesome. Cool. Folks, I've been in business quite some time. I see there's still a lot of you here on the line, so I want to know what other questions you have. If you're still waiting, if you're still trying to make the decision here, I found that there's really only two kinds of people, okay? The first are the type that are good at making money, at generating sales, at lead generation, like what we're talking about today. And then there's another group that are good at making excuses, and I don't think you can be in both, okay? If you're in the excuses camp, you're thinking things like, well, I'm not going to be able to make this work because none of my customers are on LinkedIn, or nobody uses Facebook, Dave, so this isn't going to work for me, or I don't have anything to say in email. You're making these stories up in your head which are just simply not true, okay? The good news is right now is you get to choose. At this moment, you can choose between being somebody who takes action or somebody who makes excuses. And I would encourage you to take action, okay? Do this now. Don't be somebody who makes excuses, but be somebody who invests in generating more leads using this OptiChannel framework, whether it be for yourself or if you're a service provider like a print company or an agency, also start to think about doing this for your customers, okay? Next question here is, can I build landing pages? I see that DaVinci builds them for me. Can I build them myself? Yes, you can also build landing pages. Good. Let's see here. What else do we have? Folks are saying, hey, what do we get? Again, what's the package? So if you look up here in the upper left-hand corner, we've listed all of it. It's the 12 months enterprise access to MindFire DaVinci. That's a $5,988 list price. That's what you see right here. That 3-step drip sequence that I told you about, these two things in tandem, the first two here are the ones that are going to help you get up and running quickly, okay? So we're going to get that up and running for you. Then you can go into the 6-week OptiChannel Secrets training where I'm going to break down some of these concepts into very tactical things that you need to know and do. That's a $22.97 list value. Then we're going to give you the 5 pre-built, ready-to-run campaigns. This is applicable to those of you who are service providers, but even some of you who are not. If you're, you may have customers that still get value from this. Don't think that because you're not a print company or an agency that this won't work for you. You can still find value in many of these pre-built campaigns, okay? Also, you're going to get the curbside ordering and the virtual event campaign quick start. $32.50 list price. Total value of the package is $18,655, but as you know, it is $29.97 today. All right. What other questions do we have here? James, I think James, I have been in direct mail and marketing for a long time. I've been getting your emails for a while. I was looking at your site and I was reluctant to take the leap, but David made it simple. Wow, David, that's I mean, James, that's humbling to hear that. That's something that we really work hard to do, And I appreciate you for saying that. So thank you. We've got about 4 minutes left here, folks. I want to answer all the remaining questions that you have. What else? What other questions do you have? MindFire team, if I've missed something very specific, there have been a lot of questions. I don't know, probably in the thousands. Let me know, Mackenzie and the others. If you're on Facebook and watching live on Facebook, Kushal, I imagine you're still there. If anybody has any questions, let us know what you've got. So I want to stick around, answer your questions. Go to that URL, bit.ly/YesDaVinci. You can call us there at the phone number that you see on the screen. We're not going to go away. Like I said, we spend over $200,000 a month in paying people to work on this for you. So take the action that you need here. Use it to your advantage. Use this time right now that we've all been forced to take to invest in yourself, to invest in building your pipeline, building your reach, building your tribe ahead of this reopening period that we're going into, this restart period, okay? So bit.ly/YesDaVinci. Let's see, Sharon, are you on board? Let me know if we need to welcome you. Dave is saying, please upgrade my account. My CFO approved. Awesome. Sharon, it looks like Sharon's in. That's awesome. MindFire team, I want to make sure that I don't miss any of the questions, so let me know if there's anything else from the team. I'm seeing the chat roll through. Here's what I want to know from all of you that are still here. Has this been helpful to you? Has this been informative? What other questions do you have? We're going to follow up and send you the framework. You can take advantage and actually accelerate your development here by taking this program, the $29.97 OptiChannel Recession Buster. But I'm here with you right now. What other questions do you have? I will answer them. Kyle saying, thank you, Dave, the MindFire team. Mackenzie, I'll call you this afternoon or tomorrow, or you can call my cell phone. I won't list your cell phone on the air. Cool, that's awesome. Sharon saying, did I make the first 10? I don't know, folks. We will let you know ASAP. Cool. It's so great to see all the comments coming in here. So, folks, take the action that you need to now. I see somebody asking again, what happens after the first 12 months? I think I answered that. Natasha, you're welcome. I see you saying thank you. At the end of 12 months, you can keep your level of access at the enterprise, which is $297, or you could bring it down to the $97 a month option. But put that out in the future. There's no reason to make that decision right now. For right now, you have it for free. There's no fees for the software. So don't stress out about that, okay, if that makes sense to you. Jason is saying 30 days, is it long enough to know results? That wouldn't be fair to you or the program. Jason, can you clarify your question? I want to make sure I answer that. And for the rest of you who are still here, has this been useful to you? Has this been helpful? I was up at, and I'm not trying to get a pat on the back or anything, but this is a huge honor, and this is also a big responsibility. We had hundreds of people today, and preparing this content and this training is not something we take lightly. I was up at 3 o'clock this morning thinking about you, thinking about how do I provide value, how do I serve you at the highest possible degree. So it's something that we've committed our life to. My organization is behind this to help you. It's not something we take lightly, and it's an honor to be able to serve you. So thank you for being here. Let's see. What other questions do you all have? Mackenzie, I will try to look over here on my right where I have your document. Men and women, bit.ly/YesDaVinci. In a moment, what you're going to hear as the timer counts down is a beeping sound. That means we're at the end of the Q&A. I will keep us on the air because if you still have questions or want to chat, my team will be there in the chat. Mackenzie and others will be there. Or you can call that number, 657-549-0496. Go to bit.ly/YesDaVinci. And I want to say thank you, folks. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm not going to shut this down when you hear the beeping sound. We're going to leave it open so you can continue to chat, continue to ask questions. If you need anything else from us, thank you for allowing me to serve you today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side here as you become a family member and begin to work with us to bust through this period of time. The message I want to leave with you, the final message, is if you need encouragement, if you feel like these days are more than you can bear on your own, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number, just like I've done to you, to the others. All right, 949. Write this down for those of you who are still here. 949-375-4459. My only ask, Mackenzie, you can go ahead and put that in the chat, is text me. Okay, if you need encouragement, if you want to run something past me, if you just want a friendly response from somebody who cares, text me. And I will respond to you, because right now is the time that we need to operate as one team to be able to make it through this crisis, okay? These days will be behind us at some point. We still have a long ways to go, but know that there are people like my team here at MindFire and a community of people that are going to be here to help you move forward, all right? So with that encouragement, again, 949-375, I know it's strange, 949-375-4459. Text me if you need encouragement, if you need anything like that. And with that, folks, I'm going to go off the air. Thank you for your time today. Mackenzie is still going to stay in chat. We will continue to help you there through the chat, but you won't hear my voice anymore until we talk again. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Thank you.